Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls around the world, welcome to a WNBA edition. Pri- Primarily Golden State Valkyries edition with some other things.
That's what's
Of
up.
East meets West, ladies and gentlemen. We are back again with shout out to all our WNBA fans. Hi, how you doing? We haven't spoken to you in how long? But yeah, man. Let me see. The Golden State Valkyries, ladies and gentlemen, have drafted. The
Yep.
Connecticut Sun have a new coach. We have some Jewell Loyd conversation for you guys as well. And what's else? What else is on? Oh, yes, and the Toronto Tempo people that people are so split up on. They either hate the logo or they love it, right? And all I could think of is a forward tempo. Just try to trick that out somehow, and maybe put a logo on a forward tempo and pull up in it. That could be the mascot. This is kind of corny, but hey. But where you want to start? Where you want to start?
Well, also the big event of the WNBA offseason, at least so far, has
Okay.
been the expansion draft. Because I think for a lot of even like longtime WNBA fans, or
Yeah.
it's not often that you see an expansion draft, which is kind of funny. We're about to see another one next year.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's been a long time since the
Dang,
NBA
that's
had an
true.
expansion draft. I watched the NHL expansion draft like 3 years ago or something so it's different.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
depending on the size of the league, the expansion draft rules can kind of change. So to give a quick recap to our audience, in case you weren't familiar with how this year's WNBA expansion draft works, the Golden State Valkyries are now the 13th WNBA team.
Right.
So the 12 existing teams, or the 12 prior teams, each team has 12 players per roster, right? And that includes even like their current free agents and everything like that, because free agency has not started yet and everything like that. So basically, each team was allowed to protect up to 6 players maximum, right?
Right.
That's players currently signed, players that you have like their free agent rights to, and even players that you have like their draft rights to, because there are several players, for one reason or another, maybe they've been drafted in the last year or years prior, but they
Right.
have not made the jump to the WNBA yet. So mostly like overseas players. So yeah, of the players that are not protected, the Valkyries had the opportunity to draft one unprotected player from each team. So yeah, we'll go on. So basically, the Valkyries have the first. Actually, they elected. We'll get to it. They elected not to pick any player from the Seattle Storm. So they actually have 11 players that they drafted from the other teams. These are the first ever, the inaugural Golden State Valkyries, right? The building blocks. Now, obviously, the college draft, they'll have an opportunity to draft. They have the 5th overall pick. And of course, they will participate in free agency. So, this is not like the final roster. Like I said, this is the building blocks. And again, if, Michael, I think you were young, but I think you do somewhat remember, and your family remembers, right, when the NBA had an expansion draft in 1989,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
That one's most known for the Pistons having lost Rick Mahorn,
Yeah.
So
Sadly.
that's what I'm saying, right? Now, we'll get into it, but that's what I'm saying. Like, to a certain extent, it does reshape the rosters of the other 12 teams,
Yeah.
But yeah, so I think the best way, like as the WNBA did, basically, since it's just the Valkyries this year,
Right.
the draft order, it's not really, it doesn't, there's no advantage to which team you pick from first. So they basically just went alphabetical, right? So
Yeah.
we'll go down the line. So from the Atlanta Dream, the Golden State Valkyries selected center Iliana Rupert,
Yeah.
right? I'll give a little background. Michael, you obviously know who she is, but
Yeah.
for our new WNBA fans, if you want like some context, Iliana Rupert, if that last name sounds familiar, yes, she is the sister of Portland Trailblazer Rayan Rupert.
No.
Frankly, she's probably relatively more accomplished right now than her brother.
Yeah, because I'm about to say I know more about her. This is my
Yeah,
first time even
Rayan
knowing.
is only in his second year with the Trailblazers.
Okay.
I mean, he's still finding himself. But what I'm saying is, she is one of many French players, right? As kind of like this wave of French players, both on the men's and the women's game, making their way stateside.
And
So
if they want to see her right now, they can, because she's playing for, what is it? CSK Merlin, I think. I forget the team name. I know it starts with the M. I think that's what it is, though.
are you talking about Iliana?
Yeah, she's playing right now. So
yeah. Well, no. Right now she's playing for Kukurova. Yeah,
okay, Rova.
well,
Maybe I'm
Kukurova
thinking.
Mersin, which is in Turkey. So
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, a lot of their games you can find her highlights, like on YouTube, or like some game recap compilations. But
Mm,
the short is, I mean, she is a center. She is 6'4". She's only 23.
yeah.
She was actually originally a first round pick by the Aces. But she made her way over to Atlanta this past season. Very athletic. Really good.
Catching shooters. She can shoot like
Yeah,
crazy.
really good shooting mechanics, right?
Yeah.
So I mean, she's kind of like this a nice combination of like an athletic stretch five. Sometimes you have one or the other, right? They're kind of, I wouldn't say slow, but more you go just kind of spot up
Yeah.
and you set screens on the perimeter, or you're like,
She could face up and all of that too.
yeah, speed five. So she actually does. So Michael, why don't you tell us, I mean, so she was part of the Las Vegas Aces championship team in 2022.
Yeah.
And yeah, Michael, what are your thoughts in terms of what she brings to the Valkyries and just overall her thoughts about the game?
Well, looking at their roster, she will be one of the key. I feel like her and Steph will be, and probably Cecilia, they will be the shooters, like the stretch shooters. You know what I mean? And because that's what she has in her bag. She does also, like I said, have the ability to do face up, really good in the pick and roll and whatnot. Actually, a bit the little like that we've seen, she looks like she can be a pretty decent defender as well. You know what I mean? And I love that she got drafted by this team, because she will be one of those players that like you'll be able to see what they're made of. You know what I mean? As opposed to being like on the Aces team where she's only going to get like somewhere between 3 and 5 minutes a game. You know what I mean? Like just to spell for somebody. But instead now she will be kind of like primary now. You know what I mean? Like she'll be like depended upon. And I love that about this league. I love that about this expansion. Like I don't like when players go down and then you have to have a player step up and then you get to see what they're about, as opposed to, oh, well, she only scores 3 points and whatever. But yeah, now we get to actually see her hopefully get some rotational minutes. And with her playing basketball now, she will probably come into the season already ready to go too as well. You know what I mean? So yeah.
I think you bring up a really great point, because it relates to part of the reason why a lot of foreign athletes are sometimes reluctant to make the jump to the WNBA, or even like male athletes making the jump to the NBA. Is there going to actually be a definitive role? Am I just moving? Yeah, maybe you get a little bit more money. That's debatable actually in the WNBA. But like if you're just moving and then all you're going to do is sit on the bench, it's not as very appealing.
Right.
But for Iliana Rupert, as you said, she has shown, when given the opportunity to play extended minutes with the Dream, prior to that with the Aces, she's shown some really good stuff, right? It's just having consistent extended rotation minutes hasn't been there for her. So I think for a lot of these players, it's a great opportunity for them to kind of showcase what they can do in a slightly larger role. I mean, that does not mean that they're all stars. Let's make no mistake, right? Again, we're building the foundation of a team. And actually going back to what you said, the Golden State Valkyries coach, right, for those who are not familiar, is first-time WNBA head coach Natalie Nakase, right, who was one of the lead assistants for Becky Hammon's coaching staff on the Las Vegas Aces. So actually, Natalie Nakase has worked directly with Iliana Rupert. So I think that really, in terms of like, hey, someone that she believes she can depend upon, like she feels confident in her skills, they have that rapport. And we'll get to it as we talk more about the other players that were drafted. Coach Nakase basically said that her vision for this team is, she wants them to get out and run and shoot a lot of threes. So see, this is where it makes a lot of sense, right? It just saying that alone, that's literally what she said, right? In the post game or in the post draft. This is exactly right. That basically describes Iliana Rupert, right? You get out and run, right? But you're not just a rim runner, right? You could be a trail shooter, right? You could flare out, stuff like that. So exciting possibilities, So now having said that, moving on, right? The from the Chicago Sky, the Valkyries selected the draft rights to Spanish forward María Conde, right? Now, if you were with us during the Olympics and Michael and I were previewing the potential opponents for Team USA, we did a little bit, a little segment on the Spanish national team. And, other than talking about Megan Gustafson, one that I mentioned who had not played in the WNBA yet, but was drafted, was María Conde. And I think, Michael, you're nodding your head because you've seen her work. María Conde, I'm not going to go as far as to say I think she can be a star in the WNBA. But at the very least, I truly believe that she will be an impact player. Like from day one, whenever that day is that she makes the jump to the WNBA. So in short, she is she's a forward. I would say a small forward. She's about 6'1". She actually did play her college ball at Florida State. And I mean, she's got the height, she's got the length, she's got the speed. I mean,
because she's deceptive. Like a guard.
Yes, that's the thing. Is she an exceptional shooter? Absolutely. But I mean, she could do it off the dribble. She could do it off the catch. And you put the ball in her hands, she will make something happen. That's the thing. You rarely see someone who's that kind of shooter, I mean, other than like being a guard, right? Like a Caitlin Clark or Juju. You know what I'm saying? Like normally but to be that size and to be that much of a playmaker, because I mean, whether it's in the open court or in the half court, I mean, she's a menace. And
even in coverage too, and in different coverages too. From some of the tape that I've seen, like she's gonna be a problem for real.
That's the thing too. Again, right in the WNBA, we see a lot more half court game. And I mean, that goes both ways, right? Offensively, defensively. She's the ultimate zone breaker. I mean, she at times, and that's why I said I was tweeting out. I encourage you all to, you could go on YouTube, check out her. I mean, I did post some on our Twitter account, but I mean, some of her highlights from Eurobasket, some from her team Parha. She's electric, and I mean, she is 27, and that's the thing. She was actually drafted in 2019, so. With María Conde, the question is,
she's gonna be sneaky.
when or if or when is she actually going to make it to the WNBA? That's a great question, right? It is an upside pick, right? I think the Valkyries front office basically said that they wanted to get as much talent, but as much upside as possible,
and high IQ. For real.
So with María Conde, the thing is like some of the other players that were drafted who have not made the jump to the WNBA, she is very committed and passionate about playing for the Spanish national team, and with that comes there are certain obligations that they have to be a part. They have to do some FIBA competitions that would overlap with the WNBA season. And so that would prevent her.
Would it?
Yeah.
Would it prevent her? prioritization rules won't protect her because of go ahead because I thought you had to
I
be.
think it's actually more from the Spanish National Federation.
Oh, okay.
Right. Like I think basically they're asking their players, whoever wants to be eligible, for the next international competition, they have to basically, be able to participate, in whatever like those those like qualifying tournaments that take place in the middle of the year, which would coincide with the WNBA season. So basically, between that and the fact that she's like, one of the stars, on her team in EuroLeague, and they're expected to make a deep run, it's not a given that she will be joining the Valkyries in this inaugural year. But
boo.
Yeah, but as I said, I mean, like, the upside is so there. Like, to me, it's worth the wait. We're not even a rebuilding team. We are a building team.
Yeah, I mean, because you guys are like two like prime players away from just putting this all together and then having a training camp. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So I mean, obviously, I mean, I'm excited. When I saw her name, pop up on my Twitter feed because I had like notifications on from the Valkyries, I'm like, whoa,
yeah,
that's really exciting, and I like it. Like you're thinking big picture, because at this point you have to leave no stone unturned when you're starting from nothing. You're starting from scratch. So I'm excited. I'm glad that she retweeted my tweet, and
yeah, I gotta get it on Twitter and check that out.
Yeah. I think if or when she makes her way over, I think Valkyrie fans will be really excited because, I mean, not only, as you said, is she high IQ, a very exciting brand of basketball. She's a very exciting brand. So,
man, I'm thinking she could, considering her experience overseas, considering her age, which those two things combined make me like she has a Leonie Febich kind of upside for me. Like she can come in, get established in the WNBA game, get adjusted, and then like, after the first third of the season, all of a sudden she's playing like really like key moments, showing up at clutch moments, and then towards the end of the season, let's say that they are in playoff position, suddenly she can be one of those players that take another leap. You know what I mean? Like because she has that experience overseas. You know what I mean? Like it's not like the NBA where overseas they try to say, oh well, they're still playing catch up. Like not nowadays, not really, but the women's game is kind of, you know what I mean? Like the players that are like drafted to the WNBA that come from the international basketball scene, they kind of they're not rookies to me. You know what I mean? They are not rookies.
Right.
And a lot of people sleep on them. And I think that's where Leonie Febich just came out of nowhere and just shook the world. You know what I mean? So yeah, I hope that she's the same. And I hope she shows up. I hope she plays, but
I hope so too. I mean, if you're asking me to predict, I don't think she'll be joining the team this year. Okay. But if she did, I think it would be really cool. I think it would be really exciting because she'd have the opportunity to have the ball in her hands.
Right.
Like
exactly.
A lot.
Yeah.
And that'd be exciting, right? Because hopefully the Valkyries get the opportunity to draft like, one of these young potential rising stars like a Z Fudd or Olivia Miles, whatever, right? So I'm saying like, hey, at least for year one, like, hey, you get to see like the full Maria Conde experience, but we'll see.
I'll wait till the end of the roster after we do the roster breakdown to ask this question.
But moving on, from the Connecticut Sun, the Valkyries selected guard Veronica Burton, who was actually a first-round pick, 7th overall in the 2022 WNBA draft. She actually was originally selected by the Dallas Wings, then made her way over to Connecticut. So, Michael, why don't you tell us what you think about Veronica Burton's game? How you think her potential fit is with Golden State?
I think she would basically, right now, the way it looks, she would be the primary ball handler.
You think so?
I mean, she's capable, bro. Like, it's just we haven't seen enough because she's been in logjam situations. You know what I mean? Like, she was over there with Enrique, and at the time they had, I think they still had Marina. They still had um what's the other young guard that they had? It was because it was Marina Mabry, it was Enrique, and it was just like Alicia. I don't know why I keep thinking of Alicia as a guard, but they had somebody else too behind them. And being in Connecticut, you're being over there with Alyssa Thomas, and you're not getting the ball out of her hand. You know what I mean? Like, so the type of ecosystem that she's been in, she's not been able to actually show what she's capable of, because she's capable of it all. You know what I mean? And a lot of people was questioning, like Veronica Burton and even like players like Odyssey Sims, why are you not playing them? You know what I mean? And Veronica, even though Veronica's younger, but it's just like, give her some minutes, bro. Let her show you what she can do. You know, maybe change up how some of your lineups go, because she's explosive, bro. Like, she can get to the cup, she can shoot from distance. She's good in the paint. Like, it's nothing that she can't do, in my opinion. You know what I mean? She's good handling the ball as well too. So I'm happy to see her like get drafted here. You know what I mean? Like, because she's gonna finally get the minutes. I love those types of players. Like, okay, you're finally gonna get an opportunity. Like, I want to bring it up every time we mention somebody that hasn't had minutes, but I'll be talking about everybody probably except Monique. But like the Maddie Seacrest experiment, like Maddie finally got a chance to show up. She went to a whole nother level, and we're gonna see that from if the coach puts Veronica as the primary ball handler, or like maybe even secondary. She can be secondary because, you know, they do have Lete coming in too, if I'm pronouncing her name correctly. But no, pronounce it for me, please. Please correct me. Light. Okay. So yeah, she's coming in, and I think that she can be primary as well. But I want to see Veronica get a chance first, because she's already had some WNBA experience, and man, I think she can give you upwards of 12 points, 6 assists a game. She can, like, easily, if you give her the ball like that. Like, give her the volume, give her the usage rate. Look at you playing with the sun.
Yeah.
You want me to shine some more light in too?
Yeah, that's right. You know.
Yeah, but I'm looking forward to her in particular, because she's been another one of those players that's no, don't time my screen out. She's been one of those players that's like needed the opportunity to actually show what she can do and be in that type of position. You know what I mean? Especially in this WNBA, where there's not a lot of point guards, but we're about to start seeing a lot of like really good. This game is about to change. It's about to change.
I mean, if you look at the projected wave of, you know, like the projected top picks of the next several drafts, I mean, they're all guards.
Yes,
you know,
they are.
Which, again, I'm not saying that this is, you know, like some philosophical, like basketball philosophical shift. It's just right? Like, it just happens at the top, you know, the top talent are like on ball, like primary ball handlers, you know, which is cool, you know.
Yeah, it is.
One last thing about Veronica Burton, because I totally agree with everything you said. And again, like, I mean, basically we could say this about all of them. Like, hey, we could see her in a bigger role, right? But no, I think your assessment of her game is right. For those who aren't familiar too much with Veronica Burton prior to the WNBA, you know, again, first round pick out of Northwestern, and not only did she make the Big West all defensive team, she was the Big West defensive player of the year, right? And she also was top 5 in the entire nation, in the entire NCAA in assist to turnover ratio.
Yeah.
Right. So again, has she had an opportunity to really tap into all this? Yes and no. But I mean, and we'll go down the list of the other guards that were drafted.
Yeah.
You could kind of start to envision a role, right? I mean, like, if she has an opportunity to play extended minutes and she can really recapture that defensive tenacity, especially at the point of attack, then there will be a role for her. Like, there, you know what I'm saying? Like, whoever they draft or whoever of these like veterans that she's going to be paired with in the backcourt.
Yeah.
I mean, it's crazy, right? And again, same thing, right? You want to get out and run, you want to get out and shoot, you need it's not just a bunch of catch and shoot players, right? You need
Right.
players that are capable of making that extra pass, making the smart extra pass. She fits the bill, so it's really exciting. It's really exciting. Now, going on to the next player that you mentioned, from the Dallas Wings, the Golden State Valkyries selected French guard, Carla Leite, who was actually Dallas's first round pick just last year. Last year. And because last year was an Olympic year and she was a member of the French national team, as we saw with all the French players like, Gabby Thomas, et cetera, right? Gabby did not join the WNBA. So like the Valkyries literally just got like an actual legit first round draft pick for nothing.
Right. That's smart. Right.
Right.
For the win.
Yeah. Yeah. Basically, so I mean, she is currently playing in Villeneuve, which is, in France, right? In the French Pro League. Whatchamacallit. She's a really interesting, Carla Leite is a very interesting talent. I mean, if you just go on like YouTube, go on like even like just the highlight compilation the WNBA put together on draft day. I mean, you want her on ball, and
yes, please.
I mean, obviously all her highlights are her crazy like speed dribbling,
highlights, right?
especially in the half court. And what I was like saying about her, because I mean, she's not like particularly like short, right? She's got decent size. She's 5'9", right, which is fine for like a point guard or a guard.
Yeah.
What I'm saying is like normally like, even if you're tall, if you try to have a low dribble, regardless of your height. Well, actually, no. I feel like the taller you are and you try to have a low dribble, it's got to be like in the half court.
Yeah.
And you're slowing tempo down.
Exactly. Or you're going to lose the ball.
Right. With Carla Leite, like the reason why, like she's like literally like Speedy Gonzalez out there. The reason why like she could weave in and out of traffic, like I've never seen this. I don't understand like how you can have both a low and a high dribble and you don't change the cadence of right. And it's like just
that's an interesting observation. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I'm saying because that is what helps her create like all these crazy passing angles. Like, how does a defense really account for that, right? Like, I mean, I got to get high, I got to get low, and if I'm getting low, then I'm completely off balance,
right?
Yeah.
And
if you choose not to, then no,
you can't stop the passing lanes. Yeah,
you're not gonna stop it. She's gonna find somebody. So, I mean, like again. It's really exciting. I can understand why Dallas didn't protect her. Again, you can only protect 6 players, but I mean, it's pretty crazy. It's pretty crazy that I came to that like a first round pick just
get snatched away from you.
Yeah, dude. So I'm excited.
They'll be okay. They've been stockpiled with picks for the last like 5 years. They'll live. Trust.
Yeah.
They will live. They don't need it.
So, I mean, she is, again, another really, really exciting player. No, I'm not just trying to favor all the international, like, the overseas player. But, I mean, given that we have not seen it yet, I think it's she was definitely drafted in the first round for a reason. Let's put it that way, right? And I think if she has a good chance of making the jump, if she so desires, I mean, that'll be huge. That'll be huge. And
I think she will.
I'm hoping.
Yeah.
I'm hoping.
Yeah.
But yeah. Moving on. So we see now a couple guards here, but from the Indiana Fever, the Valkyries selected Temi Fagbenle. That's right. So I'll let you take this one, MJ, because I know you're very familiar with her game.
I love Temi Fagbenle, bro. Like she opened up the year practically carrying the load outside of Caitlin Clark. She was the one carrying the load to kind of keep them in games competitively. You know what I mean? And regardless of her age, like it's nothing but a number. She's a vet though. Um, she showed that she can really be like good enough to the point where she can like sustain you when you need it. You know, like Aaliyah Boston was like kind of just out of sorts early on. You know what I mean? It's in this AB is like of all people, but Temi showed up and helped them get like something established with Caitlin Clark and just some type of offense. Like it wasn't the offense that they ended up having towards the end, but she's a hustle player. She can finish. She's all over the place. She's playing defense, going after boards. Like I absolutely love her game. I love her for this team because she will get like I know she got injured this year and coming back her minutes weren't the same, but she was still kind of serving the same purpose. You know what I mean? Where
Yeah.
she was like basically the glue. And I look forward to seeing her like actually go here and hopefully, well, I don't know if she starts over Monique, but it would be nice to see her get 25 minutes a game. You know what I mean? Like that would be nice before like she decides to do something else or hang it up. Who knows when they decide to retire, especially at that height. But I love her game, bro. And I would love to see her like be a primary focal point of the offense. That would be amazing.
I mean, if you're watching this video, in all likelihood, you subscribe to the East Meets West YouTube channel. And if you do, our short that blew up the biggest
Was the Temi Fagbenle block.
exactly, right? It was
What
like
was it like five?
it's a couple 100,000.
Yeah,
right? Like
yeah, it was a lot.
point being is, I mean, obviously very exciting. The phrase I like to use, and this applies to women too, right? She brings
Yeah.
violence to the rim in a good way,
Right.
you know. But I saw some of the reactions. Well, not so, a lot of reactions from Indiana Fever fans. They're definitely pretty disappointed. Now, because they're disappointed, does it make a good pick? Not necessarily, but that goes to show how impactful she was for the Fever, and how impactful she could be for the Valkyries. Going back to it again, does she bring shooting? No, right? I'm going to say like no. But in
None.
terms of again, right? If you want to get out and run, how do you do that? You got to get stops, right?
Mhm.
And she's going to get stops more often than that, right? She will contribute, right,
Yeah.
to winning defensive possessions, and that's the beauty. When you say get out and run, come on.
Yeah.
She's got to be one of the best, right, at
Yeah.
getting back in transition and rim running. So I mean that's huge. We're gonna need that. Not all of our bigs have to just be like a bunch of 3-point shooters. It'd be a nice component, but in terms of this, and I'm with you. I get if you're the Fever, I can understand why they didn't protect her. Like as you said, right? She's relatively older,
Yeah.
than their core, and she does have her own injury history.
Yeah.
But if you're the Valkyries, um, if you think about it, like, would you be able to get a big as good as her, like a defensive, like a rim protecting big as good as Temi in free agency? Probably not. So
No.
I totally understand, the desire here. I mean, there were others I threw out, but I mean, it would be like a very like a gamble, more of a gamble in my opinion. Like if they had gone with like Katie Lou Samuelson or something like that,
Ooh.
you know.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's coming up, right? That's coming off a bad year. You could make an
Yeah.
argument that the Fever may have to have given us a pick to take her off their hands, right? That way they could open up her salary slot, because the Valkyries have cap space they could burn,
Yeah.
So, but anyway, I think again, with all the guards that we've already listed and the ones that we're about to list, it makes sense why you'd want that kind of center,
Yeah.
behind him. So it's a good pick. It's a good pick. It's an exciting pick. Now I think this next pick is the one that most, like, definitely die hard, but I'd say casual fans definitely recognize this name the most.
Mhm.
From the Las Vegas Aces, the Golden State Valkyries selected guard Kate Martin.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
And I mean, I will start because I don't remember who I was talking to, but it's exactly the reaction I expected when I said, "Oh, whoa,
Mhm.
Valkyries are getting Kate Martin." And what did I hear? It was like one of my friends, like, isn't that Caitlin Clark's old teammate? That is basically how Kate Martin is most known.
It's seen, yeah, it is.
But to her credit, Kate Martin, I mean, there was a lot of ambiguity whether she was even going to be drafted last year. When she attended the draft, that was more in support of Caitlin Clark. It wasn't even for herself. And, she ended up getting drafted in the second round by the Aces. But I mean, if you watched her, as seeing as Iowa, Caitlin Clark's Iowa team was on TV so much.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess we don't need to go in depth, but Michael, why don't you tell Valkyrie fans why it makes sense that the Valkyries would want to guard like Kate Martin on their team?
Because she basically was what Kelsey Mitchell is now to Kate Martin in Indiana. So she was that at Iowa. You know what I mean? And because that team was built totally different. Like they were built around Caitlin to be able to shoot around Caitlin. Whereas like players like Temi Fagbenle and whatnot, they didn't have that in Iowa. You know what I mean? Like defensive rim running and whatnot. But that's what Kate Martin is. And so people believe that that's what she continue to be. She can continue to be going forward. So especially with the guards that they have, that they drafted, Light and they have Veronica. So I mean, and if they're going to run, you get somebody like Kate Martin. We've already seen what that looks like. You know what I mean? So I think that is actually a really good pick. And who knows? She might, again, she's another one of those players that, like I say all the time, she didn't get minutes. She was on a championship team and, down the roster and whatnot. So not a lot of time. And when she did get in, it was like a damn party down there. But, yeah, hopefully she gets big minutes and she continues to develop her game because I want to see it now. You know what I mean? She got drafted for a reason and she was really good at Iowa too. So yeah, like she was pretty much in the clutch too. So
there you go. That is the word I was about to. I was waiting for.
She was the clutch.
Perhaps maybe it's just the way that we choose to remember her college tenure, but I agree. It seems like the reason why I feel like, at least for me, the reason why I believe Kate Martin resonates with a lot of fans, like the name, is because she was always involved in so many clutch moments. And I'm not trying to say again, Caitlin Clark absolutely was like the engine and the star of that team. But at times I felt like Kate Martin was the heart of that team, the grit at times,
right.
Not that everything is just all hustle plays from her, but it's just, it always seemed like, especially in that run to the national title game, right? It was always like there was an extra rebound or she forced some kind of like deflection or something, right? To just swing the odds in Iowa's favor. So, I mean, again, the Valkyries, building a team, building an identity. I totally understand why you would want to guard like Kate Martin. And again, I think she has her fan base, right? It's nice. It's nice to see to get people who are not from the Bay Area to be excited about this team.
Right.
So, moving on, we got some wings here coming up. Some wings, front court from the Los Angeles Sparks. The Golden State Valkyries selected Australian forward Stephanie Talbot.
Yes.
Stephanie, having been, again, she is a veteran, 30 years old. She was selected actually by the Phoenix Mercury back in 2014. So she's actually played for, the Lynx, the Storm, and most recently the Sparks. MJ, what do you think Stephanie Talbot brings to this team, or how do you envision her potential fit?
She's like in the same breath of Iliana Rupert. Like she's a floor stretcher. She's probably better than Iliana at this point as far as like execution. But she can pretty much do the same things, like face up, get to the basket, make the right pass. And yeah, she'll be the veteran voice that'll be bringing those other players along too. So, because I feel like LA they probably are upset about that because she was going to help make it where you had to play Cameron Brink, honestly. You know what I mean? Being there.
Yeah.
So I know they're probably mad about that, but hey, it is what it is. Like you should have protected her then. And yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing what she does because she still has a lot left in the tank too. So she
I
probably
mean,
has the most of the big or of the wings, like at least on paper. You know what I mean? And then like I'm saying, like in the games I've seen her in, she executes. So I think like she has the most like really that she can bring immediate day one. You know what I mean?
yeah,
So she'll probably start early on, if not just throughout. I can see
really.
that. I can see that. Yeah, I can see that.
But
She might. I'm looking
you
at her
see her
like
more at
the
what?
main
The
vet,
four?
damn near. Yeah, she's not to jump NBA lines, but we talk about the Pistons, but you know how you feel like Tobias Harris was for us. I feel like
Mhm.
she can kind of be that for them.
So you
Like
think she's more of a 3-4
I think she's more of
for
a
the
3-4.
Valkyries?
I feel
Because
more
I
like,
think
yeah,
I don't think there's overlap with Rupert. I think Rupert is
no,
a
it's not.
5. Like she's a 5 for
Huh?
this team.
Okay, okay,
Oh yeah,
okay.
yeah. Because I gotta know. I feel like she's better as like
A
a weak
defender.
side defender. Like I don't
Hmm.
really see her as like a backline defender.
Yeah,
Um, but I think in Cameron Brink's absence, kind of a little dimension that she was able to showcase this year, which I don't know if this is what appealed to the
yeah.
Valkyries, but what stood out to me was she did average, again, from the front court, she did average 2.1 assists per game,
Hmm.
which is pretty impressive for someone who actually doesn't really handle the ball a
And
lot,
yeah,
right? So that basically means like you're operating as like kind of like the fulcrum,
yeah,
like out of either the low post or the mid post. And again, right, just we want more ball movement if we're trying to
exactly.
be a free flowing offense. So again, high IQ, high IQ. So
Yeah,
that to me is potentially what I see. But I mean, I don't know. The Sparks beat writer said the Sparks shouldn't be that disappointed. And I understand, right? I mean, like,
yeah,
you have Cameron Brink coming back. You
yeah,
got De'Arica Hamby, right? She's still there.
yeah, yeah.
I'm probably missing some other people, like, I'm assuming these are the protected players, is what I'm saying,
Right.
So I guess, yeah, they could afford to lose her, and well, yeah, they have the number 2 pick, right? They can get Kiki,
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah.
right?
That's
I mean, they
never
could.
mind.
I'm not
They
saying they
not mad.
will,
They
right? Yeah,
probably
right.
shouldn't though.
So
They should let Rakia Jackson keep on doing her thing. Don't.
hell yeah.
Yeah. Unless you would put Rakia at the 3, like I was like predicting about Satu before they finally moved her from the 4 to the 3. Like,
Well, you know me. I'm even more
yeah.
bold than you. I think Satu should be the point. Or she's
Oh,
basically
oh, oh.
she's basically the Cade thing, right? You could call her a 3, but she's the point. The ball is
Okay.
best in, okay, well, we're getting off topic here, but see,
No,
who
I
knows?
mean,
Who knows? Maybe Satu ends up in a Valkyrie jersey, right? The purple and black.
please, because she a
Yeah,
free
dude.
agent, right? She can
She's a free
just
agent.
go and
Right.
let they can't. Can they core her?
Can they afford her?
Can they core her?
If they did, they'd have to make that public, once free agency
Ah,
starts. Because it's like, remember, like, the whole protected list and cord player list wasn't actually really made available. Like, we kind of know, right?
yeah.
So, okay, moving on. From the Minnesota Lynx. Ooh, I like this one. Well, I like all of them, but
Yeah.
the Valkyries selected Italian forward Cecilia Zandalasini.
Yes.
I like saying her name. You know what I'm saying? I
Yeah.
like the player. I like her game, but I love
The way it
saying her
rolls
name.
off the tongue.
I know, right? Zandalasini. Um, as we saw this year, she actually was she was part of the rotation. She was part of
Yeah.
the Lynx rotation. However, I mean, she really saw, she was like a deep rotation player this year for the Lynx.
Hmm.
Um, having averaged, well, actually very deep this year. Really only like 9.5 minutes, but it felt like more because I think, when they were dealing with injuries, she played some extended minutes.
That's when she stepped in.
Yeah,
When
you know.
when Fee went down, that's when yeah, that's when Sandalasini stepped in and
Well, I'm
like
sorry. In the playoffs, 9.5 minutes. In the regular season, about 13 minutes. Okay,
yeah.
so yeah, but still, yeah, yeah. Obviously, Cecilia Zandalasini. If you look at just her Lynx highlights, what are they? it's all of her shooting threes.
3-pointers, yeah.
Yeah.
And
Which
a couple
is not
defensive
even,
stops.
I mean, she literally shot 44.3% from three.
Mhm.
On like that, basically all her field goal attempts are 3-pointers. So for her to be shooting for, like, basically she's a sniper.
Right.
Okay? She's a sniper. She's Kate Bishop. Okay, you know what I'm saying?
Basically.
She's Hawkeye.
She's Kate Bishop.
Yeah, man. Well, you and I are big Marvel fans.
Yeah.
The thing about it though is with Cecilia Zandalasini, like, make no mistake, I'm not saying that she was used incorrectly with the Lynx. I mean, when you have so many like players, ball handlers, playmakers,
just
we
Alana
know all of
Smith,
them,
really.
right?
When you
Even
have
even
Alana
like
Smith.
even Alana Smith, right? No, but I mean,
Yeah.
even in the pecking order, if you believe there's pecking order, right? Where does Alana Smith come in? Like what, fourth? Maybe in terms of like actual use, you know what I'm saying? Like in any given lineup. What I'm saying is, yes, because of the abundance of playmakers that the Lynx had, Zandalasini was relegated to being a spot up catch and shoot shooter.
Mhm.
And she did it well. She did it fantastic. Now, if you look at her Eurobasket tape, her film with the Italian national team, or even her Euro League, she is very dynamic. Obviously, we know she can be a movement shooter, but I mean, she is, again, is she, even with the Valkyries, will they put the ball in her hands like what I want them to do with Maria Conde? No, not necessarily. Not to that extent. But when you do, I mean, like, rarely did she ever have to attack closeouts, right? Because they didn't dare to double team any one player on the Lynx. And what? When they did that in the playoffs, who was it? The Connecticut Sun. Remember that? Like, it was dumb, right?
Yeah.
Like, right? Kayla McBride. Someone's always running free to the basket, right?
Mm-hmm.
So Cecilia rarely ever attacked closeouts. That's not to say that she can't. She actually is pretty creative off the bounce. Again, you don't want her pounding the rock, but again, I think there are going to be more opportunities for her. And like, there is a lot. She's way more dynamic than how she appeared with the Lynx. Yeah. And the thing about it is, obviously, not all of these players will be on the opening day roster, just like any WNBA training camp. So some of these players that we talked about, I know, not to be like, sad or pessimistic. What I'm saying is, like, I feel like she's, barring like some kind of trade, I feel like she will.
Yeah, she will.
Like be, I mean, I think she's, a perfect blend. 28. She's got the size. Lang 6'2", and she's played really, really high level basketball. Both Italy, Turkey, and FIBA. So I mean, like, it totally makes sense. Now, to be fair, prior to the WNBA draft, I think you and I talked about it a little bit on the show and over on Twitter. We kind of thought Alyssa Peely might be the target by the Valkyries. And I still don't believe, if we do the numbers, I don't think she got protected. So I think she really was available. Now, I'm a fan of Alyssa Peely, and I'm not saying that she wouldn't be able to fit Natalie Nakase's vision.
Yeah, man.
But it makes more sense.
Yeah, it does.
To be going for these other players. If that's what Natalie Nakase wants to do. And again, remember, we still got free agency.
Yeah.
Right? We could be getting other, like, like bigs or whomever, right? Like, what I'm saying is, the appeal of getting like someone like Alyssa Peely was the upside and the youth, right? Being still on her rookie contract. But, if they want to use that cap space elsewhere, because I mean, Zandalasini's like a minimum contract? I don't know,
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's understandable. But I think, again, just like the other players that we said, I mean, shooting, I mean, she's at the very least knocked down.
You just had a whole love affair about her. I have nothing else to add. Except I feel like she's Leone Jr. basically. You know what I mean? She's like
Yeah.
another type of Leone. She was just the Leone for the Lynx. The Leone Lynx, that's what we'll call her.
Yeah. Okay. We're almost done here. From your defending champions, the New York Liberty,
Oh,
the
my girl.
Valkyries selected forward Kayla Thornton. So, Michael, why don't you tell the audience why? I mean, I think
They probably
diehard
tired
fans
of
are
me
familiar
talking
with her
about
game,
Kayla.
but
They probably tired of me talking about Kayla, like the WNBA heads that's tapped in with me. um, Man, I've been loving Kayla Thornton since Dallas. Like, I've always paid attention to the little things, and it's a lot of players. They might have talent, they might have like certain things that they're able to do, certain skills. She just has the intangibles, like, and it's something that you can't replace. You know what I mean? Like when you need defense or you need a defensive stop, everybody else isn't doing it. Put Kayla in, she's gonna get it. You're not getting rebounds all of a sudden, or they're out rebounding you, they're getting up the floor doing that stuff. Suddenly she's coming in, she's getting hustle rebounds. You got somebody out, suddenly she's coming in getting that 20 points just magically out of nowhere. You know what I mean? That was just unexpected. Like she always, like, she's making really good plays. She shows up on defense, and she can, I mean, if you prioritized her, like if you made her like a focal point in an offense, she can like do just the dirty work and some cleanup work. You know what I mean? Like she can get it murky and then she can clean it up. So I've loved her since she was in Dallas, and I've seen what she was, and then she's gone to New York and she showed up and really helped them like get to a championship and get to the finals twice. You know what I mean?
yes, sir.
And
Yeah.
I know her like being shifted in and out of the lineups depending on if Benija's healthy, and you know what I mean? So now she'll have the opportunity to like pretty much regain her spot in the pecking order, as opposed to like, Benija, Leone, like they probably kept on scooting her back. Now she has the opportunity to like show up and be like higher, or if I mean, I'm thinking some of these players are great. They do kind of some of the same things that other players that she's been around. She can still serve that same purpose. And when you need that, she'll be like another Temi Fagbenle. Oh, that's gonna be crazy now that I think about it. Her and Temi Fagbenle. Oh, bro, I'm ready to see this team now. Yeah, that's gonna be fun. Her and Timmy in the game at the same time. Please do it, coach. Please, just for me. 5 minutes a game, please.
Oh, it's gonna happen
in spurts, because that defense in hustle is gonna be crazy. It's gonna be crazy.
Yeah.
It's gonna be like, oh my god, they're getting every ball. Yes, they are.
Yeah.
But
and I think for the most part, everyone that we've listed, I don't think anyone would be considered like a below average defender.
Yeah.
Right. I think they all have a history of taking pride on that. And, even if, well, I mean, obviously Temi, but I'm saying for like the offensive oriented players, they don't seem to like, they don't scream defensive liability. Right. Let's put it that way. So, I mean, hey, right. That's a great building block. Yeah. I mean, as far as veterans go, you couldn't have found a better one,
Yeah.
I mean, yes, I mean, she's relatively older, compared to some of them, but I mean, they need that. They need that experience you want,
Exactly.
So it's exciting. It's exciting. Moving on from the Phoenix Mercury, the Valkyries selected forward Monique Billings, right? Formerly drafted in 2018 by Atlanta.
And then went to Dallas and Dallas,
Phoenix, and she's been very she plays year round.
Yeah,
and I love it. She's been all over the place.
Yeah, she's overseas now, isn't she? I believe.
Yeah, she's in China.
Yeah,
yeah. She's with Guangdong.
And I think she's playing very well too right now.
Oh yeah, she's killing it. She's killing it. But when she returns, she will not be returning to. Well, at least she's still in the Pacific time zone. But she will be returning not to Phoenix. She'll be coming, just another airport away. She'll become an SFO. Yeah. So, Michael, what do you envision? How do you envision Monique Billings fit with the Golden State Valkyries?
She will probably carry the load early on, I think, because she's capable of doing so. You know what I mean? And because that's what she's done pretty much like all last year. That's what she did. You know what I mean? Like she was in Atlanta, then she went to LA, then she went to Phoenix, and I didn't understand why the previous two teams let her go. I mean, maybe Tina Charles coming to Atlanta is why they let her go and go to LA. And excuse me, she didn't play in Atlanta. She was in LA last year, but it's just like, why did y'all let her go? But everywhere she went, she showed up. She could spell for your best big, and she can also just be the primary big. You know what I mean? So, yeah, I think I think she'll be the primary. She's gonna be, to me, she's the one that's not like we're mentioning everybody like Steph Talbot, Iliana, like she's the one that can actually like do some dirty work too, like, but actually like on offense, you know what I mean? Like, not saying that they can't, but she's the one I anticipate doing the most of it. So yeah, and she can do it at high volume, high usage.
Yeah, I think I mean, it's obviously, we talked about Maria Conde, and actually, yeah, I mean, like, there is playmaking, but then still, right, an actual, like, literally, possession to possession shot maker, and I think Monique, compared to the other players that were drafted by the Valkyries, right, I think she has a lot of that ability, like, okay, the offense is bogging down, give her the ball and, make something happen, which, you need that. Every team needs a little element of that, if not more elements of that, so, I mean, I think, that's a great, I think you're spot on. I think that's what she brings. It'll be really interesting. Like I said, I mean, we're trying to envision it, but, they have the 5th overall pick.
Yeah.
Like, we're going to add some, that's why you very well could add like an alpha playmaker or scorer. So we'll see. And obviously there's also free agency, and we've thrown out some names, right? So, at the very least, they all project to be like either really good role players or like high end, like complementary players,
Yeah.
Like Monique could, like I'm with you. She could very well be like a second or third option, at least for year one.
Early on, or just early on until they establish what they're trying to do. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And get it where it's well oiled, because like anything's going on with your bigs, she can show up because Dallas had her, Phoenix had her. She's been around other bigs. She still gets her minutes. She still produces. You know what I mean? Like, at a high level, at a high clip. So it doesn't matter what situation she's in. She's like probably one of the better compliments too, because her game differs from everybody else's, So
yes.
Mm-hmm.
All right. And then, all right, we'll talk about this later when we talk about like a little, called Jewell Loyd talk. But the Valkyries elected not to select nobody from the Seattle Storm, so we'll move right past through that one.
Okay.
And then with the final pick, the Valkyries selected guard Julie Vanloo. Vanloo. Belgian guard Julie Vanloo from the Washington Mystics, not Vanloo, right? Yeah. This is just me. I try my best to pronounce people's names correctly. I feel like it's identity is very important, and so Julia Vanloo, she laughs at it, but no, like it's not Vanloo, it's actually Vanloo, which is actually very easy to pronounce, right? Instead of VAN, it's VON, and then like instead of Lou, it's Low, like LOW, right? So Julie Vanloo. I guess I'll take this one.
Okay, I'll just pose the question. Just one question.
Yeah.
Am I wrong by saying that some of the other guards should start over her?
Ooh.
When I said that they would probably be primary or secondary, because I feel like she could be like the one as well. She could like very well be the number one like ball handler as well too. But maybe she might be better served off the bench, because I feel like she might be able to, at least just based on what I've seen with Washington. I don't know. I'll let you take.
No, I think that's a good question. Yeah. So here's the thing. Let's say that the Valkyries don't draft a point guard with the 5th overall pick. Yeah. Then I want Julie Vanloo. to be starting. I want the ball in her hands as much as possible, right?
Okay. Yeah,
Which it's understandable why
yeah.
it wasn't in Washington, but it's also understandable why they tried to get her as much touches as possible by having her come off the bench,
Yeah.
right? But, obviously circumstance, injuries, and stuff like that.
Mhm.
But, I mean, she is just
the sun giving you a Santa
she
beard. Let's get
I
it.
know, dude. She is, like, dynamic. I don't know how
No, it's good. You ain't got to change it. Let the sun shine
She
in, bro.
is incredibly dynamic.
Yeah.
Is that better? It's like worse. There you go.
It's
Okay.
good. It's the sun.
That'll work.
Man.
That'll work.
Yeah.
No, but like I said, if you look at her, like, her tape with the Belgian national team or her EuroLeague tape, and I know, right, EuroLeague is not WNBA, but if you just, like, the few times where she was able to kind of, again, like, be the primary playmaker of any given lineup she was with the Mystics, she's like a rocket, I mean, like, kind of like Carla Leite, but I mean, there is just a crazy tenacity in everything that she does. I was saying, like, online, because she sent out a message to Valkyries fans saying, hey, she's going to give it everything she's got. That I don't think is just like, words or platitudes coming from her. I think same thing in any level, male or female, right? If you are really trying to generate open looks on the perimeter, right, you need legitimate dribble penetration. And that is what I like about, acquiring Veronica Burton, in theory, if she makes the jump, Carla Leite, but definitely the veteran, Jewell Vanloo. Oh, look, I said it wrong. Vanloo, right? Yeah. I mean, her ability to create looks for others is freaking crazy. When you talk about being able to shift the defense, that's exactly what she does, right? It's not all speed, even though, again, she can be like Speed Racer out there. The handle, the cadence, right? Those are the things that you want to be able to put whoever it is, whether it's her backcourt mates or her bigs, right? You want to put them in a position where they can actually get a clean look at the rim. She does that. She does it. And I think, again, for a team, she's 31 years old, a good veteran, younger, relatively young to the WNBA, right? I mean, because, again, she didn't make the jump until a couple years ago, but I think she is kind of like the seasoned veteran that you want to be able to kind of help develop your young guards, whoever that may be, Carla Leite, whoever they draft, So I'm excited. I'm excited. That was, if they didn't hit a home, we kind of talked about this, you and I, off the air. If they had maybe wanted to gamble with the most upside, they could have drafted the returning rights of Elena Deladon. But
my God!
But that's the thing.
I wanted to bring her up too. Yeah.
The thing is the Valkyries front office and scouts, they're being lauded because a lot of them come from international scouting backgrounds, right? Okay. Yeah. So that's what I'm saying. Like, whether it's Carla Leite, María Conde, or Elena Deladon, I believe that they have at least a certain level of intel as to whether or not these players are going to realistically, like, there's a realistic chance that they could come over anytime soon.
Yeah.
So fingers crossed for the former, but for the latter, for Elena Deladon, they may kind of have an idea that she doesn't want to, what I'm saying? Like, it seems to be like she's kind of being excluded from these conversations for that reason. I think she just might be happy, staying overseas right now and continuing because she's being, she's being really successful over there. So, but I mean, I like it. In terms of veteran guards. Yeah. Jewell Vanloo, and again, this whole international flavor. So, I mean, there you go. These are the original 11 Golden State Valkyries, Natalie Nakase's first crop. Will all 11 make it on the opening day roster? I don't know. Probably not. Well, again, like I said, there's a good chance that they don't lose them. They don't waive them. But if Carla Leite, if María Conde, if they choose not to come over immediately, then okay, right? We kind of put them on that little, whatever, IL / returning rights list, right? Where you could put up, I think, up to 4 players, So we'll see. Because actually, I thought, maybe they might, draft Nika Mule and put her
Yes, that's what I
on the
thought.
IR list, but I don't know. I guess maybe the Valkyries have plans, because again, right? They will be drafting players. There's 3 rounds of the draft. They will be signing free agents. So roster spots are a commodity. They come at a premium league-wide, not just for the Valkyries. So we'll see what they do. But there you go, ladies and gentlemen. That is the team. Yep. A lot of shooting, a lot of athleticism, a lot of high IQ passers.
Yep.
Yeah. It should really be fun. It could be extremely fun, depending who reports to training camp.
Yes.
So fingers crossed on that one. But before we sign off, we said we'd kind of address a couple other little tidbits around the WNBA. Michael, take us away.
Well, because me and many others didn't know, we had never heard of the Connecticut Sun's new coach, which is, I don't want to say it wrong. Do you know it already? You know how to pronounce it? Rashid.
Hold on a second.
Yeah, I want to say Rashid Mezian. But I didn't have any intel on him and his background, just like I didn't on the Valkyries coach until, you had really spilled it like that. Like I didn't even know that she was Becky's assistant, because we focus more just on who's the head coach as opposed to the assistant coaches. Like even when I'm watching certain games, I'm seeing certain people on certain benches just across basketball, whether it's WNBA or NBA, and I'm like, oh, he assistant over there? Oh, he did? Like, didn't know that. And I think everybody would be interested in hearing just a little bit of whatever you may know about him.
I mean, I can't. I'll be honest. I'm not like super. I have, because I've watched Villanueva's games.
Yeah, just general.
I see him, but Rashid Mezian.
Mezian.
I might be.
See?
I think.
That's nice though. How it rolls off.
Right. If I'm hearing the broadcast correctly, I think that's how they said his name. Okay. But yeah, he's just recently the head coach of Villeneuve in France. Okay. And he actually they recently won the championship this past year. He has he's actually the head coach for the Belgian national team. So again, right? Yeah. Obviously Julie Vanloo is a Valkyrie, but what I'm saying is you can kind of see if you go back to the Olympics, you can kind of get an idea of the types of sets that he likes to run. I wouldn't say that they're necessarily like an up-tempo offense, nor are they like a slow, like a Princeton offense.
Right.
But I think if you look at the Sun last year, I think we talked about this, right? In like our playoff previews and kind of, our predictions that, even with our buddy Nick Andre, right? We were talking about it. There are stretches where the Sun last year, like they can go like 5+ minute stretches where they don't like score a single point, right? Like they can't even get like a single good look off. Like everything's like a borderline like shot clock violation, right?
That's where Marina came.
Yeah, definitely not like a motion offense, but a lot of, even if like with the Sun, even if you're going to you want to like isolate, right? Mezzanine, like a lot of like double isolation sets where, right, you're actually getting guys or your players isolated, favorable isolation one-on-one by having the guard like Julie Vanloo did with the Belgian national team, right? You're going to pull the defense away and try to overload one side, you know.
Kick it to the weak.
So, I can especially imagine with Alyssa Thomas kind of being like an option screener, right?
Yeah.
If they wanted to run like a double isolation set, she kind of camps out, kind of somewhere around maybe like the middle of the mid post or around like the free throw line, and she
Yeah.
can kind of decide, right, based on where the guards are going, which side they're going to isolate, and they let whomever go, attack one-on-one.
Okay.
So, yeah, I can understand from their perspective, right? They want a little bit more offensive versatility. They want a little bit more variety, less predictability.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, he's definitely one of the hotter names in the coaching ranks.
Yeah.
I know a lot of people here in America aren't familiar with
Yeah.
him, but over there, he is a
Yeah.
highly sought after coach. So I mean, hey, right? I'll give him the benefit of the doubt, right? You have not proven me wrong. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. See, and I know, like I call you a top scout because that's what I see you as, and I know you know a lot of people and you know your stuff. You know what I mean? So that's why I wanted you to really give it to him like that, because you understand that just because we don't know someone or you know the narratives. I'm not gonna throw them out there for people to try to pull them from us or whatever. But it's just like, well, sometimes you go for improvement or you go for a scheme or you go for just a coach, and that might be what Connecticut is trying to do, because I mean then you also look at their roster and it's like, well, if they're going to retain Alyssa Thomas, Bonner, and everybody else, then do you want a rookie coach or do you want a coach that just coached the Olympics? You know what I mean? And is coaching overseas and is highly sought after. So yeah, thank you for that breakdown, sir. Appreciate it.
No problem.
That was Khan's corner.
There you go. Now back to MJ's madness, right? Michael's madness.
Let's go. Right.
I'm kidding.
Back to Michael's madness. Let's get it. No, that's fitting. So which one should we leave? Let's just throw Jewell in there now.
Yeah, let's do it.
And then
because
yeah.
Okay. In this age, people like Twitter detectives, everybody is, like Sherlock Holmes.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes, hey, even us, you and me, like we're guilty. Yeah. Sometimes we try to connect dots that may or may not be there. So all I'm saying is, well, the Valkyries ended up not drafting anybody from Seattle. Not one.
Right.
You could just draft them and waive them.
Right.
I think it's really interesting. No, really. And there's no reports of maybe they elected not to draft someone because Seattle will, give them a 3rd round pick or something on draft day. That way, just don't touch anyone on our current roster. Right. They didn't even do any of that, Yeah. So I believe it was 2 or 3 days prior to the expansion draft. It leaked late night. I think it was Wednesday, Tuesday or Wednesday. It leaked, on all media outlets, ESPN and everything, that Jewell Loyd had officially requested a trade out of the Seattle Storm.
Yeah.
And I'll let you take it from here. But basically, oh my God, the sun is completely in the background.
Yeah, it is.
But anyway. What else? Think of me as a ghost. I'm a ghost right now. Okay?
Right.
All season, we had heard kind of rumors that there was some friction with the Storm, and I'm not too familiar with what, I mean, you kind of guess, but clearly we talked about this. If I'm just looking at, I don't know anything about the players, how they feel about each other off the court. All I'm saying is, on the court, I said all year, right? Between Jewell, NECA, and Skylar, there clearly was a disconnect.
Yeah.
There's clearly a disconnect. And you even said, right, hey, right, first year, all 3 of them together, you need to build chemistry, but it just always looked like there wasn't a desire to build that chemistry. So I don't know. What are your thoughts, MJ?
Well, I'll just be quick because I'm sure everybody has jumped in, and it's to the point where now who's to believe? You know what I mean? Because
Right.
some are saying it was the coach bullying. And then we've heard things like, oh, she has certain like milestones to hit in her contract in order for her to have, or like as far as on the court, in order for her to hit certain like different things in some of her sponsorships. Then we hear stuff like what they say, it was who knows, Skylar at this point, because who was that posted something? Was it Tina Thompson, or it was something on Twitter? And they were just saying, like, when this type of stuff is going on, like, you just got to show up, because what's not good is 37% shooting, 29 from three, and whatever. And then Skylar posted up under that post a word. You know what I mean? So it's just like, was it Noel? Was it Skylar? Was it Jewell versus Skylar? Was it Jewell versus Skylar and Noel? Because maybe they started to develop some type of chemistry together. Or was it just Jewell not wanting to pretty much relegate herself? You know what I mean? Like, okay, yeah, y'all coming over here. And I still want to be able to drop 30 if I want to. You know what I mean? Because that's just what it looks like. Jewell, I love you. Mama Gwen, you brought me out to Spotify show when they were doing those things before, and invited me to the Moms of the W and all that. I forget the actual name, but and I appreciate you for that. I love Jewell, but I do also believe that she needs to be on the team where she is the focal point. That's her best setup. You put her with like a secondary player and then role players. You can't put her. Everybody can't play with superstars. Kobe can't play with Karl Malone, Gary Payton, and Shaq. You know what I mean? It's him, Shaq, and then the rest. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, and it's not that every team is capable of doing something like what I guess we could say New York did this year, or the Aces have done, where it's 3-4 players that can kind of alternate and whatnot. Like, that's not necessarily the thing for everybody. So I don't know what to say about it now, because it's all sounding like narrative. Maybe Jewell just wanted to get out. You know what I mean? Maybe it's, oh yeah, they was bullying this and this and that. Oh no, we weren't bullying. Oh, I want out now. Like, she might just want to move on. Like, it could be anything at this point. But it seemed like it was like clear maybe 2-3 weeks ago. And it was even somebody on Angels Pod, they were saying 3 weeks ago, that actually said it first, like, Jewell wants out of Seattle. So it's like kind of a dicey thing, but
do you think this is more personal or more like on court?
I think it probably started on court and then became personal.
Wow. Okay. And that's what I'm saying, right? Right? Like,
Yeah.
we talked about it.
Yeah.
Because it seemed like at times, like, Sky and NECA had a good connection.
Yeah. But Sky and Jewell.
I don't want to like, pick on Jewell, but if I'm only looking at it strictly from an X's and O's perspective, remember what we were saying, like, during the Olympics,
she didn't look good.
it's really difficult for her to be effective off ball. That's still an element, as much of a, she's an all-star and a rising, a star in this league. It's an element of her game that she needs to continue to work on. If you're going to see, like, sustained success, competing at the highest levels, really to be a championship contender. I'm not saying she can't. It's just clearly something that she needs to work on. And this is crazy, dude. I seriously look like Ghost, like the movie with Patrick Swayze. That's interesting. I gotta find a new spot when we record in the mornings. But last thing though, like, okay, just say hypothetically, because like a lot of Valkyrie fans have been throwing out, like, because Valkyrie fans, like, I mean, okay, if you're a casual fan, everyone is just fixated on Paige Beckers, right? Because nobody know, like, a casual fan, they don't know anybody, maybe past like number 2, like Kiki. You know what I'm saying? Like, obviously, you and I know that there are a lot of really talented players that will be available at the 5th overall pick.
Yes.
But if you were in the Valkyries front office, like, Seattle's like, hey, What do you think? Would you be interested in Jewell Loyd for the 5th overall pick? Would you do it?
Is this like already having intel on the likes of like Satu, Sabali, and maybe some other free agents we may be able to go after? Even
I
though
mean,
I don't think they can talk until January anyway. So
in general, I mean, unless there's other, I mean, basically, is there another guard as talented as Jewell that's going to be a free agent? That's what I'm saying. Like, because I don't think acquiring Jewell shouldn't necessarily prevent the Valkyries from being able to pursue another high level free agent.
yeah,
Like a Satu or whomever.
I will go after Jewell.
You would do it?
I at 5, yeah, but I
Okay.
really prefer they flip that 5 and maybe one or two of the players that they have and try to get one.
Okay,
That's fantasy land for me.
that's Dallas, right?
Yes.
I don't know. There's no Dallas is do. I mean, I don't want to say they do. I would be surprised if
I
they were
mean,
willing to trade out a number 1. But
yeah.
what if it was like Olivia Miles at 5, or trade it
I'll
for
take
Jewell?
that. I'll take that.
You'd rather stick with the pick?
I'll take Olivia. Yeah.
See,
Because
I think
we're
I'm
getting a
I'm with you too.
fresh like kind of perspective the player can
That's what
build
I'm
with the
saying.
coach and they can build uh pretty much an identity as opposed to knowing what Jewell is going to require coming in. You know what I mean? And then having to try to reassemble everything because they did this expansion draft based on a vision. So if Olivia fits that vision, just draft her. You know what I mean? I mean, yeah. You know what? As a matter of fact, now that I think about it, I keep the draft pick and I stand pat with it. I don't want to bring in if it's not. I would bring in Satu, but anybody else, EDD. But other than that, no, I am going to use this draft pick on the actual
Yeah.
player from the collegiate ranks.
I think for me, again, given that we're not a rebuilding team, we're a building team. Make no
Right.
mistake, like the idea of having like a star player like Jewell Loyd on day 1 is pretty exciting. But I could also understand, and I'm not trying to speak on behalf of Natalie Nakase. I'm just saying, like, I could understand the merits of I want to, kind of draft someone and build a system, you know, uh,
Yeah.
kind of like hand in hand, as opposed to I have to build strictly
Around.
around your
Yeah.
preferences or what makes you comfortable. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think it really changes free agents. You know what I'm
Everything.
saying? Like,
Yeah.
yeah. So it'll be, and plus, obviously, the idea of being able to grow with that player. You're fresh out of college. We got you on the rookie deal and
Right.
stuff like that.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's interesting. It'll be interesting to monitor. Because as you and I were saying, right, and then a lot of other people, like, yeah, it's easy to Photoshop her in Jewell Loyd. That is, it's easy to Photoshop her in a New York Liberty jersey. But why would New York do that? Like,
Yeah.
I don't see that.
No. Why? I mean, but
Like,
for what though? For who?
she's not
Like,
going
nah.
there. She's not going to Las Vegas. She's not going to Minnesota.
I wouldn't be surprised if she's. Well, no, she's not going to Vegas. I don't think so. I don't think so. She'll probably. Well, no, I wouldn't want her there either. Damn, because I want. I
I
mean,
mean,
I don't
what?
know. What you think about
LA?
LA? LA. That's what I was about to say.
That was
But I
the
don't.
only one that I could think of.
I want Rakia Jackson to like her and Cameron Brink to go crazy though. So I don't know
That's what I'm
that
saying.
I
Yeah.
want.
Yeah.
Who's available? Go play with Enrique, I guess, and y'all take turns. I don't. Like they could be like a scoring punch, but I don't know. Like where can she go right now that they can maybe Chicago?
I mean, definitely Chicago. Yes.
Chicago.
Yes.
She could do that.
Yes.
I can
Yes.
see Chicago for sure. They actually need her. You know what I mean? They need a player of her
I mean,
caliber.
I think they need to completely rebuild,
I mean,
not even
yeah,
just their starting backcourt. They need to rebuild their entire guard depth. No
yeah,
offense to the current guards, right? But I mean, you're
Yeah.
all to me, you're all like at best role players, right? You're kind of like a situational player. So we'll see. But terms of situations, right? We
Mhm.
just saw what's the funny thing, right? We just saw the first expansion draft in like what almost 20 years. I can't remember the last one. Oh shit, I think it was like last one was '06, I think, or something like that.
Was it?
Um,
It wasn't. Well, never mind.
I have it here actually.
I don't know why I was thinking it wasn't expansion. It was
I'm
just
sorry.
like
The last
the
one was in
teams moving.
'08. It was
Okay.
'08 when the Atlanta Dream joined the WNBA.
Yeah.
And next year, just 1 year later, we are having another expansion draft as we welcome two teams. One is still unnamed. It's in Portland, right?
Mm-hmm.
They have not settled on a name or brand yet. But the other one has
Mm-hmm.
the Toronto Tempo.
Let's go. Let's go.
MJ,
Man.
just a couple minutes, a couple closing thoughts here before we sign off.
I love the logo. I love how retro it is. Everybody, I was saying it reminded me of the Pacers logo.
Yes.
Long before I started seeing people say it on social media, I should have banged out a post and went viral from it. You know what I mean? But it also just remind me of some older logos, like even a little bit mix of like a Speedway gas station logo with
Yeah.
the damn lines in it and all of that. Like, but it reminds me of like the 80s, maybe the late 70s, but just stuff that was in the 80s, like some of the designs and things that they used in.
Yeah.
And maybe even like I don't know. What other vibe does it give me? Like they can kind of go back in that time, like to a Miami Vice kind of time frame, and
Yeah.
really do something with this team, with this logo, and just really do something around it. You know what I mean? Like, because that's the type of, just looking at the logo, that's what I get. Maybe because of the history I know, understand, and like depending on what it was, whether it was music or art or something like that, I dove into, I immersed myself in and seeing things that look like that, like kind of minimalist, and then the music around it and stuff like that. Like they
That's what I'm
gotta
saying.
they have things that they can really do with that.
I mean, I think, yeah, I the reason why we brought this up is one, it's only right we speak. It's expansion's great.
Yeah.
That's 24 more roster spots, right,
Right.
coming in next year. But with the tempo, obviously there was a lot of negativity, a lot of backlash, social media backlash.
Yeah.
Fans just making smarmy remarks. But obviously, you and I are kind of on the same page. I love it too. For me, I am the mindset sometimes like less is more.
Yeah.
Uh,
Me
simplicity
too.
could be really cool. But
Yeah.
I'm with you. I like what you're talking about like the whole almost like a throwback vibe,
hmm
kind of combination of like a little Miami Vice vibe.
hmm
Because what you and I were talking about off air, if you go on the Toronto Tempo's like Twitter account, maybe also on IG, I don't know, but like their banner pick, it has like a picture of like I guess like downtown Toronto, like and like
Oh
a
yeah.
street,
Yeah.
and
You
it's
had
like
me.
the tempo, the T. It's kind of like streaking
Yeah.
down. It's basically like when you take a picture, of like traffic, and then or like a video, and then you frame it. You
Yeah.
rewind it, or
But it's
yeah, you
still
fast forward
moving.
it, and then you
Yeah.
pause. So it's like a
hmm
streaking lines of traffic. That's
Yeah.
what they made the tempo look like, and I think that's really cool.
Yes.
I mean, I've
Yes.
I've only been to Toronto once, right? But I mean, like it's renowned, right, for being, um, like the energy. Like it
Yeah.
is a very fast paced city, with a lot of like life, a lot of culture. I
hmm
think it's cool.
I do
I'm with
too.
you. I think it's really cool. I don't know. I feel
Like
like I'd like to think that their city will embrace it, that their fans will embrace it.
oh yeah.
I
Like
mean,
the logo screams like it gives me a certain vibe just to look at it, and that's the vibe. You know what I mean? Like
yeah,
kind of is like just vibrant, bro. Like and that's what Toronto is for the most part. Like
there you go.
once
Perfect.
people visit or they start to see things going on there, because the team will also be there, which will put more attention on just
Yeah.
Toronto in general, for people who haven't traveled to Toronto, been a part of Toronto, or just think, certain people are attributed to Toronto, so they think that that's what
I
Toronto
mean,
is. Like No, it's a melting pot, and it's a vibe for
Yeah.
real.
I like the way you described it. I mean, it says something about their city,
Mhm.
and their local culture, their local identity. Make no mistake, Raptors is cool, but Raptors had history to it.
Right.
Jurassic Park
Yeah.
was filmed there. That's basically why they call themselves the Raptors.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? The
Exactly.
Magic, because they built it next to Epcot Center. You know what I'm saying? Like
Right.
that's just,
Right.
so
Exactly.
I mean, like this
And
one
I
is
think that
more,
this took thinking too. Just like you said, they had the car streaking, then put the T there. The name is the tempo. That's a pace. That's the tempo. Like that's an actual picture of it. Like
yeah.
that's good marketing.
Yeah. Well, with that said, I mean, we have a lot of time till well, not a lot of time, a couple weeks really until free agency starts.
Yeah.
And maybe we'll dive into a little bit more of some college ball to talk about, like, the top collegiate
Top thing.
prospects for the next WNBA draft, but there's going to be plenty of time until the 2025 WNBA draft.
Oh
So,
yeah. Yeah.
until then, you know where to find us.
You know where to find
Maybe
us. You
I'll be
see
a
the
little bit
names
more
at the
visible
bottom.
next time.
Make sure you follow us on Twitter at EMW_pod. Make sure you like and subscribe. Make sure if you're not watching on YouTube, you will see it pop on your line. If you subscribe on Spotify, if you subscribe on iHeart, Apple Podcasts, I see you love us, Apple. Like all the Apple listeners, I'm gonna make sure you get the podcast. And yeah, we enjoy y'all. Y'all enjoy this episode, man.
Take care.
Take care.